Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
The Avengers radio series, a cultural phenomenon in South Africa back in the 1970s. South Africa was a country with no national television service. It wasn't until 1976 that the country would get its first taste of television broadcasts. But before that, radio was the primary medium of entertainment and information for the masses. This was the context when The Avengers, a British spy FI series, made its debut on South African radio and became a cultural phenomenon. The Avengers was a British television series that originally aired from 1961 to 1969. The show revolved around the adventures of John Steed, a suave and sophisticated secret agent, and his various female associates. The series was a unique blend of traditional spy thriller elements with science fiction and fantasy, which set it apart from other shows of its time. While the series was hugely popular in the UK and had also made a significant impact in the American markets, being one of the rare British series given a network transmission slot, it was virtually unknown in South Africa. This was primarily due to the lack of a national television service in the country until 1976. However, as a film series, The Avengers was able to gain some exposure in South Africa through film rentals. But it was the launch of the radio series that truly brought The Avengers to the masses in South Africa. Come and listen at www.myclassicradio.net.
Now, don't go away, because next on CBS Radio's Comedy Time are those two zany characters of many characters, Bob and Ray.
And now, from coast to coast, Bob Elliott and Ray Goulding are more than delighted to present the CBS Radio Network. And so another week slowly grinds to an end for us here.
Yeah, we have 2 or 3 weekend features that will be a part of today's show. These are our opening remarks that you're listening to right now.
Yeah.
And we have some guests in the studio.
Yeah. And let's see. Is that all we have for the show today? My word.
Well, I thought maybe it'd be good to think about the weekend coming up.
Well, at least we're going to get the studio clean for the weekend.
Here he comes. What is his name? Have you found out?
No. Do they have some special shows in here over the weekend that they have to get it all cleaned up or so?
I don't believe so, no.
It's a big vacuum cleaner he has there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Big as a nice job. He probably belongs to one of those commercial companies that goes around cleaning business establishments.
Yeah.
Lucy, hurry up. We're on the air, you know.
We're always so happy. That's the thing we like.
Well, I think time for our call to Peoria.
That's right. It's Friday, and our great whale, the Bob and Ray Promotion whale, has moved on to Peoria, Illinois, and to bring us the full coverage of Smelly Dave's visit to Peoria. Come in, please, Bob and Ray reporter Arthur Schrank.
Hi, everybody. Arthur Schrank speaking from the Piping Horn Country Club here in Peoria, Illinois, where in just a few moments we're going to display Smelly Dave for all the folks in this area. We want to thank the people here at WMBD in Peoria for making our visit so pleasant. I might point out that the manager of WMBD, Charles C. Cayley, is having a little cocktail party here at the country club for a lot of sponsors and influential people here in the town, more or less of a promotional idea for the station. It's a lovely club. We're standing not too far from the 18th Green, just between the 18th green and the
Now
9th.
to dry up there. I'm about ready to start the
I think that
festivities.
they're about ready to start the festivities now. So here is the station manager, WMBD, Charles C. Cayley.
Thank you, Shrank, and welcome all of you visitors here to the Country Club. We think we have a good afternoon's entertainment in store for you, and you're probably all wondering just what those pins mean that we've handed out that say HISDCWMBD on them. Well, you've probably figured out the WMBD part. Those, of course, are our call letters. But now it's a pleasure to tell you what the HISDC stands for. It means here is Smelly Day, courtesy of WMBD. I know you've been wondering about that, and I think you kind of enjoy the little jokes we've had. And have created a little anxiousness among some of you. We want to just say a word or two about Dave, the Great Dead Whale, which has been sent out here, and of course, which is on tour. You know that Dave is creating a great deal of stir, and we know that you sponsors here in the Peori, Illinois area would like to create a stir too. We think we can work together with Dave to create a stir. Dave, as I have so often said, is a whale of a whale, and we think we have a whale of a station. I think for those two things going for us, we can really make something out of it. And now, thank you very much. Now, I would like to have you all turn your attention here to the far end of the pool, which has been, as you notice, filled with ice, while I pull the great line which removes the bunting from Dave, and you'll all get a look at our little friend over here. Is everything ready? All right. Then I give you Smelly Dave. Now, if you just want to pass around Dave, take a look at him with your refreshments there in hand. It's quite all right with us. We'll have the patty de foie gras served in just a little while. And,
the Shrank here at Mike's side again. You've been listening to the broadcast of the festivities attending the Smelly Day display here at Piping Horn Country Club in Peoria.
sounded all right, eh?
And it was, I assume, a big success.
I think it went over great. And
now, on this happy, pleasant note, we return you to Bob and Ray.
whale of a promotion.
What was he saying?
Something about a whale of a promotion. Well, that's good. You know, I think that the interest is building up in old Dave, and I want to thank Arthur for nice coverage out there.
Yeah, doing a very good job. Now then, do we have a little theme for this next feature, please? Hello, this is your host, Emery Wheeler, here on Show Business Corner, and our guest today is network producer Morton Peters, noted for his successful television series Waikiki Gun. Hi, Mort.
Hello, Emery.
Mort, most people are aware of the success of Waikiki Gun, but for those who aren't, would you mind, Mort?
Well, not at all. Waikiki Gun is the story of Wild Bill Harlow, the man who cleaned up Honolulu.
Well, gosh, you really went way out west on that one, didn't you?
I would say so, Emery.
Mort, with WG, the success it is...
what's WG?
Waikiki Gun. I met some of the kids who worked on the series, and that's what they called it, WG. Isn't that done quite a bit in show business? I mean, to save time.
Well, some people do that, Emery. However, Waikiki Gun isn't an excessively long title, and it's my understanding people who work on the shows which have longer titles do shorten them up in the way you suggested.
Yeah, well, at any rate, it's a successful show, and I'm sure the network is after you to develop some new westerns, right?
Yes, they are, Emery. The network is after me to develop some new westerns.
Do you have any ideas, Mort?
Well, the trend in westerns seems to be moving toward the, let's call it the esoteric kind of cowboy.
You mean the finely caparisoned cowpoke?
That's about what I mean. Guy who can quote things.
Have you had any luck on the project, Mort?
Well, I've seen some scripts, and there are a few I'm interested in. I was particularly taken by a script one writer submitted. It was called Oscar Wilde Goes West.
Gee, judging by the title, it would seem to be a good idea.
I thought so, too, but it turned out to be a sea story about Oscar Wilde's first trip to New York.
Any other scripts seem interesting at all?
Well, there's the first Ivy League cowboy, the Seersucker Kid, first man who introduced bad manners to the Old West.
That sounds promising.
Well, you seem to be a good sounding board, Emery. Tell me, how much damage can one man inflict on another man with a fraternity pin?
Well, if it's a large fraternity pin, I suppose...
No, I don't think I'm going to waste any more time on the Seersucker Kid.
Well, you've been a lot of years in the business, Mort. You know best, of course.
That's right. I've got too many others I'm considering anyway. For instance, there's Arnold of Paris, the fighting hairdresser, the Old West's first beautician.
Hey, that sounds promising.
It is. The thing I like about it, we wouldn't have too much trouble getting a beautician into scrapes each week, not in the Old West. But as yet, we haven't licked the problem of how he's going to get out of those scrapes.
But
get that set up, then we'll be in pretty good shape.
Well, you will. Network television producer Mort Peters, because perplexing problems are part of your life. And thank you for being with us. And now, we'd like to have one final word with veteran CBS newsman Wally Ballou. We switch you now to the other end of this studio for W.W. Ballou.
This is distinguished CBS newsman Wallace Ballou, reporting from the other end of the studio, from where I'm standing.
Just a minute here. This is pretty ridiculous. A foreign correspondent like you reporting from only about 10 feet away.
Well, they're breaking me in for CBS News, Ray. They want me to start corresponding from close in and work my way out. They promised I could make a report from Staten Island next week on CBS News.
But what if there isn't any news that needs to be reported from there, then?
Huh?
I suppose there's nothing happening.
Well, I'll have to make a little, then. Fellow needs practice if he's ever going to hold down the CBS News post in, say, Paris or Bonn or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, those CBS News boys are tops in the business.
Did they tell you to say that on the air, too? I mean, isn't that a plug for broadcasting's foremost news-gathering organization?
This is Silver-Tongued, the CBS newsman, Wallace Ballou, reminding you to hear the news first, fast from CBS News, and returning you now to the other end of the studio. Almost spilled the beans about the plug there, didn't you, buddy?
Okay, Wally. Sweet.
We said we're going to have a weekend feature, and that's what we're going to do now as we call in another of the Bob and Ray staff, who is somewhere in Texas, Scott Keogh. I wonder if you can hear me, Scott, with your man on the road weekend helicopter report. Please come in.
Hi, Bob. Yeah, everything is in good shape here. I'm parked on Route 64, just outside of Houston, Texas, here in the Bob and Ray convertible.
That's great country down there, Scott.
Yes, it is. It's a very interesting country, Bob, and we have a full report on the helicopter situation for you.
Well, how is it right at the moment?
It's very heavy in the sky southbound. I think probably have been 15 to 20 helicopters go by here in the last 15 minutes.
Well, I can hear some of them overhead there. They sound pretty low.
There's a slight tie-up westbound at the Sky Toll House, where there are several helicopters backing up there. I would suggest anyone in a private plane to bypass that.
Do you find that
toll house.
The weather is good at the moment?
Weather's very good, Bob. It looks like we're going to have a delightful weekend, and everyone is taken to the air.
Yes, that will mean the sky will be full of the whirling birds there, as they call them. They seem to be clearing up the situation that you mentioned a moment ago.
No, if anything, it's getting a little more complicated and cluttered. I notice now Yes, here comes the state police trooper in his helicopter with the red flashing light siren. He's going up to see. I think what's happened up ahead, southbound, is one of the helicopter's engines have boiled over.
Oh, yeah.
And as you know, it's only a two-lane sky route.
Well, if they get tied up the way you've described, I can understand how an engine could heat up that way.
Well, that's what's happening, Bob. So I would advise, I think he's going to clear it up now. Yes, they're throwing up a sky hook.
Oh, good.
And they're going to pull the immobilized helicopter off to the side into the other part of the sky.
Well, then, do you have any final word of advice to helicopter people down there?
Yes, I would. I would remind them all that the airwaves are filled with helicopters this weekend, and that unless they absolutely have to use their helicopter, don't do it. And again, the reminder that the traffic is heavy southbound and the tie-up at the Sky Toll House westbound.
Thanks very much for more fine reporting, Scott Keogh, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you, Bob, and 30.
What?
You said thank you and 30.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. Is that mean, is it? Say something like that? I don't know.
Guess it's time to look down the rundown sheet here and see what's coming up on Monday after a pleasant weekend, we hope.
Well, here again, there's nothing on the blackboard, so we can't tell. Before we get
Children's Day, Monday?
Maybe so. Before we go, though, we want to thank everyone who's helping us make our show a real omelet. Vic Cowan, our director, and Kirby Ayers, and Tom Sheehy, Joe Cabibbo, Joe Alonzo, and Wilbur Conley, of course.
That's right, to say nothing of the Bob and Ray Midget and the great Bob and Ray Bird. We'll all be back here again on Monday, and until then...
This is Ray Goulding, reminding you all to write if you get work.
Bob Elliott reminding you to hang by your thumb.
This is the CBS Radio Network.
How to have fun, anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
21st Precinct, aka 21st Precinct and 21st Precinct, was a police drama broadcast on CBS Radio from July 7, 1953 to July 26, 1956. It was initially a summer replacement for My Friend Irma. The program was produced in cooperation with the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association of the City of New York and presented adaptations from true criminal records in New York. From the policeman's point of view. Historically, the 21st Precinct had been located near Gramercy Park in Manhattan, but in 1929 the department reorganized the precinct numbering, and the 21st designation was dropped from use. No such precinct existed during the show's run, nor does a 21st exist today. However, the fictional precinct's territory corresponds closely to that of the Upper East Side's 23rd Precinct as it has existed since 1929. Stanley Niss was the producer, writer, director. The role of Precinct Captain Frank Kennelly was played by Everett Sloan for the first 109 episodes and briefly in episode 135. During episode 109, Captain Frank Kennelly was promoted to Deputy Inspector and reassigned out of the 21st Precinct. He was replaced by Captain Cronin James Gregory, 1955-56, and Les Damon, 1956. Other cast regulars were Ken Lynch as Lieutenant Matt King, Harold Stone as Sergeant Waters, Jack Arissa as Sergeant Collins, and Santos Ortega as Lieutenant Gorman. The program's announcer began the program's opening each week. 21st Precinct. It's just lines on a map of the city of New York. most of the 173,000 people wedged into the 9/10 of a square mile between Fifth Avenue and the East River wouldn't know, if you asked them, that they lived or worked in the 21st. Whether they know it or not, the security of their persons, their homes, and their property is the job of the men of the 21st. At that point the lead actor would complete the introduction. The 21st Precinct. 160 patrolmen, 11 sergeants and 4 lieutenants of whom I'm the boss. My name is Kennelly. Frank Kennelly. I'm captain in command of the 21st. Art Hanna, Bob Hill and Hugh Holder were the program's announcers. The series was produced by John Ives. It was usually directed and written by Stanley Niss. Another source lists Niss as producer. Come and listen at www.myclassicradio.net.